You don't wanna never count yourself out, make it a great one. Just be sure to leave out the doubt, time to wake up.
Hi, I'm Harrison Tash, author and illustrator of Exit Without Leaving. And today what I want to share with you is a mindset that I think we have to get really good at overcoming. And I share this with you because if we can recognize some of these mindsets in ourselves and our teams, we can overcome this. And so let's put this in terms of your business. What I call this mindset is called envy downplay. And essentially what I mean by envy is that we see other businesses, whether they're in your industry or across industries, you see them and you think, man, I want to be like that business. And maybe other people on your team are thinking the same thing. Like, yes, that is a business that we'd love to emulate one day. And I think in our heads, we think, they have what we want, right? And they have this it, if you will. And you see that, and you do have this this way of like looking at it and thinking, oh, they do this, they do that, they have the right people, they have the right systems, and you can break it down. But somewhere along the line, we start to downplay what we can do. And we start to think, we can't do that. That won't work. It won't work for us. We think our industry doesn't accept things like that. Our industry can't do that. We think our people won't adopt those kind of mindsets. And we start to downplay it. But then there's something that really sad that happens. And then what happens is we disregard it. We disregard it. And it's not that we disregard it entirely. It's actually that we disregard it just kind of like in the back of our heads, because we still like these companies. We still want to emulate these companies. They have something special. And so we disregard it as in it's not for us, right? It's just not for us. And once we disregard it, now we're at a step where now we've kind of lowered our expectations. This is what our company is like. This is what it will always be like. Fill in the blank. It may not be the same for everyone, right? We're all going to have different thoughts of how we disregard things. But what I want to do is I want to share something that I think is useful when we're thinking about this. And so the way that I would start to think about this is more in the concept of raising our expectations. On any given point, we have expectations. These things that we're like, hey, this is what we expect, and this is how we expect it to be done. And so expectations is on one axis, but on the other axis, we have outcomes. And essentially what I'm saying is that if we want to emulate these companies, we cannot just downplay it and disregard that we can't ever become like these companies, whether they're 10, 15 years ahead of us or they're just doing it better than we are. We have to actually learn to raise our expectations. And when we raise our expectations, we have to learn to take our team and say, hey, this is the vision. Here's where we want to go. Here's what we want to do. And we say, this is the vision. Here's the practicality of it. Here's the characteristics. Here's the things that we have to do. Here's the milestones working backwards. Here's the milestones that we have to achieve. And then you put practical plans in place of how you do that. If you don't know something about a company, so if you see a company and they're like, oh, their systems are so good, we don't have anybody on our team that's going to help us. Okay, what's a milestone towards that? A milestone towards that would be we have to discover the knowledge of how to even do that, right? So what do? Work towards discovery. You might say in the next few months, we're going to discover by inviting external people in. Maybe it's consultants, maybe it's peers that are out of your industry, but they're in your peer groups. Or maybe you're just actually inviting people in to discover by research. And you say, okay, if we're going to learn how to implement one of these systems, as an example, we have to first break it down of how we discover, how we even get there. And so we break this down into small goals that reach to milestones, that reach to another milestone, that reach to another milestone, which eventually reaches us to our vision, which eventually helps you emulate those kind of companies that you love and admire, and you're always wondering, how in the world do they do it? I hope this was useful. And one thing that I would give you as an encouragement is Proverbs 27:17, which says, iron sharpens iron. So how are you going to do this? You're going to do this by aligning your team and moving them in the same direction. I hope this is helpful.